All right, so we have provided you with a couple of tools when you're going to be making calls at the Barnathon. And one of those tools is a phone script. We've played out a couple of ways your conversation could go, and then we've also put together what to say when leaving a message. These will be helpful if we go through them, so we're going to describe, and we would encourage you to practice them out loud, as silly as it might seem, just so you feel more comfortable and more natural when you start picking up the phone to call our friends and family. So the first way that your conversation would play out, and this is the way we hope that all of your conversations would play out, is an all yes conversation. And so if you pull out your script, what it would go like is this. Hello, is this, and this is where you would insert their name, and you'll get this information on the call sheet that we provide. So hello, is this so-and-so? Pause for them to say yes. I'm Andrea, calling from Camp Barnabas. Do you have a few minutes? If they say yes, then you can proceed. I'm calling as we know you have a connection with Camp Barnabas. Is this true? The whole goal is for them to say yes. This is a really simple way for you to continue on and get to share about our Barnathon. A tip for our advanced users, as you go along and make more calls, we have so much information in our Google Sheets about background of our callers, whether or not they are former summer staffers, have a camper in their family, served as a missionary, but that's a lot of information up front. So for now, what we encourage you to do is just say, hey, we know you have a connection with Camp Barnabas, to establish that relationship and reason for calling. So if they say yes to that, you would move on and say, that's great to hear. Today we're hosting a phonathon event to raise funds for camp, and we'd love your help. Would you be willing to make a contribution of $25 or pledge $5 a month? Of course, we hope they say yes on the spot. And at that point, you would say, thank you so much. If you feel comfortable, I can enter your information on our secure donor site. Can I help you set that up? We have tools for you to be able to do that, which your group leader will share more about. It's on our Camp Barnabas website at campbarnabas.org. Or if you'd rather, I can have Melissa from our development department send you a link to our secure Camp Barnabas donor form right now. I'll need to verify your email in order to do so. Melissa is from our development department, and she will be on standby watching for your information to come through on our Google Sheets. And so she will be ready to follow up with whatever information you send. We like that coming directly from Camp Barnabas, so it verifies our legitimacy, and we like our potential donors to know that as well. A pro tip here when asking for donations, if a caller makes any indication that they don't want to donate on the spot and they're not comfortable giving their information, again, we don't want to be pushy, but we do want to make sure that you flag them on that Google Sheet. The ways in which you do this we'll go over in our Google Sheet instructions, but just recapping here, you'll highlight the line yellow, and we have a column that you'll check so that we know and our full-time staff can follow up immediately on the day of the Barnathon with an email, or we'll circle back as in a call later that week. Number 2, you'll want to verify and update their contact information, including their physical address and their email while you have them on the phone. What they're indicating is that they have a level of interest, they just can't or aren't capable of doing it right then, but they are interested in some way in staying connected with Barnabas. And 3, let them know about other ways to donate. So if you can't collect their card information and they aren't interested in that immediate email follow-up, they can always send a check, and we provided that address, physical address on your script. They can also, on their own, choose to visit campbarnabas.org and click on our Barnathon link to make that contribution. Again, you can reiterate that our goal is to raise $50,000 in 8 hours, and we really want to reach that goal with their help, so that timeliness can also help encourage them to be a part of our win on Sunday. And then end with gratitude. Thank you again. You should receive an email shortly with your receipt. We appreciate your help. Keep an eye out for more info about our 25th anniversary online. So that's an all yes conversation, but we also wanted to provide you and equip you with what to do if someone is not so giving. Our second script is an all no conversation. This is if you sense someone is really not interested in participating. We have a couple of ways for you to gracefully exit the conversation. Our goal is always for you to leave someone with a positive experience of Barnabas, and so these are a couple of ways you can do that. Hi, is this so-and-so? I'm Andrea calling for Camp Barnabas. Do you have a few minutes? If they say no, you can say, I'm so sorry, I seem to have caught you at a bad time. Can I call back later, or is there a better time for me to call back? If they say yes, please make sure you add this in the notes and then again highlight that and let us know that there's a great follow-up time. This will let our full-time staff know that they can circle back at a later date and it was just an inconvenient moment that we seem to have caught them at. Or you can go a different route and say, it'll only take a moment of your time. I just called to let you know we're celebrating our 25th anniversary this coming year, and we'd love to update your information. Would that be okay? If you sense or feel like you could add information about our Barnathon, that's completely up to you. This is kind of something that you have to improv and go on the fly, but these are a couple of routes you can take depending on the tone of the individual who pushes back and says, no, they don't have time for further conversation. Thanks again for talking with me. You can find more about what we're doing by visiting campbarnabas.org, and that would be a pretty shut down conversation and move on. If you have a mix of yes or a no, that is where we have our phone script number 3. This is where you could turn a conversation around that could be start as a no and go to a yes. It also could be a mix of something that started out as a yes and it could go to a no. So again, you start out with, hello, this so-and-so. I'm Andrea calling for Camp Barnabas. Do you have a few minutes? If they say yes, you again start with, I'm calling, as you know, we know you have a connection with Camp Barnabas. Is this true? If they say no, which is entirely possible, you go ahead and apologize. I'm so sorry, it looks like our records are out of date. Let me make note of that. Have you heard about Camp Barnabas before? It's possible that they say no, and we've provided you with a fact sheet for you to share about Camp Barnabas. You can share from your own personal experience if you have a connection with Camp Barnabas, or you can just use basic information that we've provided you. Hopefully, if they're on our list, they do have a connection. Maybe it's just a typo on our part, and so you can correct that information. And they have heard about us before. So you can say, that's great to hear. We're about ready to celebrate our 25th year. We're also hosting a phone-a-thon today to raise funds for camp, and we would love your help. Would you be willing to make a contribution of $25 or pledge $5 a month? At that point, it's possible that even after hearing you out, they say no. Very realistic answer. Not a problem. We know that not everyone can give. We would love to share about what's going on with Barnabas, though. Would you like to receive camper stories or fun news about what's going on at Barnabas? And that's where you would update their contact information. Maybe they don't want to give, but you could use this chance to update their address, make sure they get our newsletters in the future, and we could prime them to become a future donor just by building a relationship with them in another way. However, maybe they do say yes. And so that's where you would take it a different route. And then if they say no, they really don't want any connection with us and they want to be removed from our call list, we completely understand. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. You can find out more about what we're doing by visiting campbarnabas.org. Have a good afternoon or evening, depending on what time you're calling. And finally, leaving a message. You will have a lot of messages when you are working at our Barnathon. And so we wanted to make sure that we provided you with a really solid script in order to be able to have fun with it, have energy behind your message, but then also communicate the heart of what Barnabas is all about. And so here's what we would encourage you to do. Take the name of that primary guardian when you are leaving a message, and then what we're going to encourage them to do is call back to our main number. We don't want them calling your cell phone because you're going to be making so many other calls out, and you've already done us a great service today in using your cell phone to make those calls out. So we want to draw them back to our main line and our main website. So here's our message. Hey, so-and-so, it's Andrea from Camp Barnabas. Today, we're hosting a phone-a-thon event for camp, and we'd love you to be a part of it. Give us a call back if you can at 417-476-2565 or check out what's happening right now at campbarnabas.org. We're hoping to raise $50,000 in 8 hours, and we would love you to help us reach that goal. Thank you so much. We look forward to hearing from you. And so you can add your own personal touch to that if you feel a little more casual, if you feel like you need to be more formal, that's of course your vibe. Either way, we hope that these scripts give you more confidence when calling out to raise vital funds for camp this coming year. Thank you again.